Hi, in this video I'm going to show how to play the Solitaire game, and we'll do a complete turn of both your turn and the opposing AI turn as well. So in this example I'm going to be playing as the Allied deck, playing against the German deck, and the first thing you want to do is pull 6 cards from the opposing deck. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And you don't know what the content of those cards is. You don't know which cards they are. And then for your deck, you want to take 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 and 12. And these you can look at. And what you want to be doing is forming 2 opposing battle groups of 4 cards each. So here I've got some infantry cards, I've got a Sherman Jumbo, an M10 tank destroyer, some more infantry cards, British paratrooper, Sherman with a howitzer, and some more British paras. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create one battle group here of 3 infantry cards, and supported by Sherman Jumbo. And this one I'll create some British paras, 3 of those supported by a M10, just like that. Okay. In your first turn, first phase, first thing you do is draw a card, another US infantry card. The second thing you want to do is you can choose to reinforce any of those 2 groups. So if you want to, you can put some more cards from your hand into there. Third phase is to see if you want to move any cards from one group to another. As I've just created these, I'm choosing not to do so, and I can move one card from the other freely. If I choose to move a card from one group to another, then I roll dice to see if one of these groups will attack me. The fourth phase is digging in. So this is where I can protect my cards, give them better defensive abilities, but they then can't attack. So to illustrate a point, I'll dig in this paratrooper here, and all I simply do is rotate it 180 degrees to show me that I've dug it in. Okay. Now we get to combat, and combat in the Solitaire game works differently than it does in the 2-player game. In the Solitaire game, what I do to declare combat is I have to discard 1 card from my hand to attack with that type of card from the group. So I think, okay, I'll attack these infantry cards here, so I'll discard that infantry card, I'll put that into my discard pile so that those guys can attack. Now when attacking, that's when I can see what I'm up against, okay? So I've got 3 German infantry cards here to attack. I've got 3 cards here, so they can each attack one of those. And then I simply roll the dice as per the 2-player game. The full instructions are either on the video or on the rules sheet, which you can download from Board Game Geek. I need a 4 on each of these to be able to hit those cards. Let's have a look what's in here. Oh, okay, right. So we've got German infantry card, sniper card, and a German Marder, which is a tank destroyer. So I might think, hey, I want to take that tank destroyer out. I'll attack with my M10. To do that, I would discard that card, put it in my discard pile. And then the combat resolution works exactly the same way as a 2-player game. So check out the 2-player rules to see how the combat resolution works. But to give a quick overview, let's just use this tank example here. This tank destroyer is the first number to show what I need on a dice to hit the tank. It's a 4. I roll the 4. Let's say, for example, I get a 5, so it's a 4 or more. I get a 5. That would then hit that card. That card would then be shaken. So I simply rotate it to show that it's shaken. And if it was hit again by another tank, then it could be destroyed. You would make a saving throw to see if the German side would save it. And you roll a dice. All vehicles get an automatic of a 6. It's got a -1. That means if it's hit by a tank with a strength of 3 or more, which this one isn't, then it wouldn't get a saving throw. But that would get a saving throw, but it would need a 6 to save it if it was hit again. And then it remains shaken until the rally phase. So now that combat's done, or examples done, then the next stage would be repair. And this only really applies if you're playing as the German deck. So the way that the German deck works is exactly the same as two-player. Every time you roll a dice for a German vehicle, whether it's to move it or whether it's to fire it or anything like that, and you roll a 1, that vehicle is broken down. I'll just put it to the back there, we'll rotate it to show that it's broken down. And in the repair phase, you can roll a dice to see if you can repair that vehicle or not. The 7th and last phase is the rally phase, and this is where you roll a dice for any cards that are shaken. So, for example, let's suppose that this German battle group have shaken a couple of these cards here, so I've rotated them to show that they're shaken. I roll a dice for each card, and if I get the dice roll required, then they become unshaken. Shaken cards can't take part in combat, so it makes sense to try and rally them at the end. The objective of the game in Solitaire is to destroy both these two German battle groups. And if you can take out both of them, then you win. There are some variant rules that some people in the community use where if it's a draw, then you add up the number of points. Each card's worth so many points to see which force has destroyed the most or eliminated the most amount of cards, but based on their point value. And that works pretty well. Full rules for that are on the rule sheets. But the primary goal is to take out both these two German battle groups. Now, once you've done your turn with your cards, then it's the opposing side's turn. And obviously in Solitaire, you play out their turn. The first thing you do is you draw 2 cards. And you don't look at them, you put them into each battle group, like that, 1 in each. If there's only one group, you'd put both of them into one. So the way combat works for the opposing side in Solitaire, again, is different than it is in two-player. What you do is you take 2 cards, and you reveal the first card. This is a tank. So that means that this group here, the first group, will attack this group with its tanks. So it will attack both those 2 tanks against that tank there. And the second card, in this example, is also a tank. So this group doesn't have any tanks, so it's okay, it can attack with its infantry instead. And those infantry will then attack there. And again, the combat resolution is exactly the same as it was for your turn, for your side, and it's works the same way as the two-player game. So you roll the dice to see what requirement you need. So that Panther needs a 3 to hit the M10, the Marder needs a 4, and you do the saving throws exactly as the two-player game, or exactly as I described earlier in the video. After the combat phase for the opposing side, then they would do a repair phase. Again, it only really applies if you're playing against the Germans. So let's say, for example, when this Panther attacked this M10, if it had got a 1, then that tank would have missed, but also it would be broken down. So in the repair phase, you can try and repair that tank. And then the last phase for the German side, for the opposing side, and the German side in this case, is the rally phase, exactly the same as it was in your phase. So the AI can try, or the opposing deck can try and rally any cards that you have shaken. So as you can see, it's pretty much the same as a two-player game. The combat works differently, and it's basically using a kind of a card pull, almost chip pull kind of system, where for combat, where you're pulling the cards to decide, or discarding the cards for your side, what type of attack you want to do, and for the AI, you're pulling cards to decide what type of attacks they will do. It's kind of I like playing a lot of chip pull games for Solitaire, and I took a variation of that rule for this Solitaire design. But by and large, the best thing to do is to read through the rules on the rule sheets. They're available on the Board Game Geek. The links here on the Kickstarter, and read the two-player rules as well, because some of the mechanics are shared. But I do detail all the Solitaire rules separately in the rule sheets. If ever there are kind of edge cases where you're not sure what the opposing side would do, honestly, the best thing to do is just roll the dice. Just use a random element to the game. I find works pretty well. And the game actually, when I designed the game to begin with, actually started off as a Solitaire game. I play a lot of Solitaire games. And then in playing it Solitaire, I played it with some friends, and they were like, hey, could we play it two-player? And that's really where the two-player rules came from. But originally, it started very much as a Solitaire game. So I hope that kind of gives you an overview of how the Solitaire works. Like I said, the rules are available for free on the Board Game Geek page, or just ping me and I'll email you a copy and no problem at all. Thank you for watching. Thanks.